Okay, good morning everyone. We would like to welcome this faculty development program. So this faculty development program we are designed for that gap between that industry requirements and then academic knowledge. So in this FDP we are going to cover most of the requirements, automotive industry requirements topics. So first thing is in-vehicle communication. So IVN, in-vehicle network communication protocols. So that is the CAN, LIN, Ethernet. So we have majorly covered for CAN protocol. So and then applications of CAN protocol, what's the advantages, disadvantages, these are things we are going to cover. So not only theoretical, we are going to use the industrial used tools and then techniques. These are the things we are going to cover, like the tools like vector CAN, TS master. So these are major things used in automotive electronics in our industries, like Mahindra, Suzuki, Hyundai. So these are the people are using TS master, vector CAN, these are things only. So our first topic is the introduction of automotive electronics. So we will start with that slide. Okay, so the automotive electronics, that auto electronics we can call as an automotive electronics. It refers to us that the electronic devices communicates between the vehicles, like the vehicle speed, engine speed, the brake values, brake acceleration percentage, fuel economy, and the throttle position. So these are the things are now communicating with the electronic devices. The values of 1, 0, or like RPM of 12,000 or vehicle speed of 100, 200. These values are we can transmit by the electronic devices. So these devices are communicating through the different kind of protocols like CAN, LIN, FlexRay, Ethernet. So these different protocols having different kind of speed, different kind of data variations. For example, we can take CAN protocol means we can send up to 28 bytes. So LIN protocol means we can take only up to 5 bytes. So these are the variations that we have differentiated in these protocols. So that we are mainly focusing on CAN protocol. Okay, so that automotive electronics, that electronic devices is nothing but our controllers. So controllers taking the inputs from the sensors or any other things, so it can be communicated with different kind of protocols like that can be. So in between that we are using some different kind of codings like C language, C++, Python. So majorly C role as the CAPL scripting, so communication access programming language. So C plays a major role in that automotive electronics. So okay. So the major subsystem of the automotive electronics is in-vehicle networking, chassis system, power training, infotainment, instrumental clusters. So these are the things major subsystems in our automotive electronics. So first of all, the automotive electronics covers the entire part of the car. So like body control modules, the entire body of the car, and then powertrain system, chassis system, so and then transmission system, so engine systems. So these are enlarged with that automotive electronics. So particularly we are going to focusing on communication only. So in-vehicle network communication only. So the last one, that in-vehicle network communication, ADAS, and then the final thing is the infotainment system. So the powertrain chassis system, these are all comes under the mechanical related works. But we are going to utilize the electronic devices to get the data from the electronic devices, and based on the values we can write the coding, or it will be check the data, and then it will be check the device ranges or sensor ranges to detect some values. It will be indicate or warning. It will give some warning lamps or warning indication, warning buzzers. So these kind of things are everything based on in-vehicle networking protocol. Okay, so in our automotive electronics, that in-vehicle networking majorly covers up CAN, LIN, Ethernet, FlexRay. So the LIN is used for the short line communication. For example, pressing any one of the button, we will get the immediate actions like turn on the switch means we will get the turns of light. Same like that for LIN protocol. But CAN protocol is not like that. We can use that up to 2.8 kilometers wire ranges. We can get the same speed of data. For example, if you are sending vehicle speed as 200 means the same speed will be like 1 MB per second. The values we can get it from the 2.8 kilometer wiring range. For example, now that Mahindra launched one electric vehicles of BE68 and XEV90. So these vehicles having that nearly 2.5 kilometers of wiring range. So the entire car body control modules, the firing range is the 2.5 kilometers range. So the 2.5 kilometers that mostly using the 2 kilometers range of wirings using CAN protocol only. So remaining 0.5 kilometers only they are using Ethernet, linear, flex, and this kind of communication protocols.
Yes,
so
in the system, all these are wired connections, wireless.
Wired connections are in between that body control module, transmission control module, engine control module, power chassis. So these are the kinds of ECUs. Now I will show you a picture later. So on that you will easily understand. So from ECU to ECU communication. So I am going to explain about what's the communication between the ECUs and then one other ECUs. So what's the time delay and then what's the synchronization, asynchronization. So these are the concepts we will discuss about in the CAN protocol. Okay. So the major system is that in-vehicle networking. If you are understanding the knowledge of communication of in-vehicle network or in-vehicle devices, this is called as in-vehicle networking. So we can easily understand infotainment, ADAS, and then chassis, powertrain. We are not going to powertrain chassis. These are mechanical related things. So the infotainment comes under that information plus entertainment like audio, video, navigation, wireless, hotspot. These are the things that comes under the infotainment ECUs. So these all are communication with that individual ECUs, but in between the range of that CAN or LIN or flex, these are all called as gateways. The gateways only getting the CAN values, LIN values, flex range, and then Ethernet. These all communicate with the one box is called as gateways. So this gateway is only splitting the values to which one we can allocate that. So we are going to write the program. So that is called as a capital splitting. For the capital splitting, the base value is the C language. If you are not having the knowledge of C language, we can easily write the communication access with that programming of C language. It will be easy. Okay. So the capital splitting, these are things we will cover in our program session.
So among these major subsystems, so this particular training is focused on
in-vehicle network, ADAS, and then infotainment. So for our infotainments, we along with instrumental clusters. So our car dashboards, the instrumental cluster is nothing but our car dashboards.
The remaining powertrain we don't.
No, it's a powertrain, chassis system. These are not it. But we will check with the body panels also, like arcade features and then high beam, low beam, left indicator, right indicator. These are all comes under body and exterior panels. So these are comes in the code ECU called as a body control module (BCM). Okay, so
where are these all subsystems, whether they are inbuilt in the software?
The vehicle.
In vehicle only. So these are the having the individual ECUs. For example, if you are having the body panels, values, frame, light doors, these are having the individual values. These values are collected by one single ECU, and then ECU will take the decision and move forward to the receiver end. So that's the receiver end and the transmitter end only. We are going to write the program. For example, we can take the reverse park assist system. That is called as RPAS. Reverse parking assist system. So it will be engaged with the sensors. So whenever you can turn the reverse gear, at the time that the sensors will be wake up and then monitoring the distance or monitoring the obstacles, it will be send the same data to the transmission systems also. And then same time it will be attached to the infotainment system. That is called as the camera detection, ultrasonic sensor detection, radar detection. So these three sensors will communicate and go into that infotainment and then powertrain for engine values and then braking system, the chassis system kind of braking. So if you reach the obstacles, automatically it will be apply the brake and it will be reduce the speed of the vehicle. Okay, so these are all communicating with the programming language. That is called as if these values are else, these values are switch case. So in our C program we are having if else statement, conditional statements, switch statements, types of iterative statements, for so these are the things we will be enlarged with our capital splitting. So for ours the C language, the basic is we need to write the program for the ECUs. Okay. So this is called as the ECU. So our entire ECU just looking like this one small box like rectangular shapes only. So this ECUs only will collect all the data. So then this ECUs only writing the programs like TX and then RX, like transmitters and then receivers. So whenever we can receive this data, we need to give an outputs like if ultrasonic sensor detects some obstacles, means definitely we need a beep alarm and then when flashing lights, or else we need a video camera output in our infotainment display, and then instrumental cluster warning and then driver detection. So these are all outputs. One single inputs, the ultrasonic sensors inputs will give give the different kind of output like LEDs or buses, this kind of thing. So the major issues in our car, if you can take any cars, these are the major issues like airbag, infotainment, touchpad, engine control, ABS, ESP. ESP is nothing but electronic stability program for our steering. Steering will control the using the electronic stability program.
Sir, we have only one ECU.
No, I can say this is like the ECU, but we have this nearly 15 ECUs. Like this, we have it 15 inside of the car.
Like for each airbag, we have one ECU.
No, sir.
Each sensor.
Airbag means we have one ECU. That ECU will collect the different kind of sensors values. For example, that side impact detection, like crash sensors. So we can place nearly 15 crash sensors in our car, in the side, then front side, then back side, and the left and right side. So these sensors are collected by this one single ECU. This is what I am going to explain.
So whether these sensor inputs are given to these ECUs, generally we leave the sensor inputs for some microcontroller sites.
Yes.
So whether now what you have said the example for ultrasonic sensor. So that sensor value will you give as an input to this ECU?
No. For example, so now we have two ECUs. For example, the ultrasonic sensor will be detected by RPAS. So reverse parking assistance system is the one ECU. So another ECU we have it like that. We can take infotainment and the ABS, anti-lock braking system. So these three ECUs are communicated by some of the two wires. So here the concept is.
No, sir. Suppose
For every system.
we take one scenario, sir. One scenario, practical scenario. Suppose airbag, for example, if a car hits it is out of speed.
Slide number 8. Yes.
You take any one scenario with the example. Just can you explain?
Yes. Okay. So slide number 8.
How the data will be taken, how the communication oral, like at least.
Yes, for example, in our car, we are having, for example, nearly 8 ECUs are there. Okay. So one is instrument cluster, one is touch, one is airbag, another one is ABS, another one is PCB. So nearly in our car, any cars, we have at least 10 ECUs. These are all common ECUs. I already showed them before image.
So ECU is different from sensor.
Sir.
Sensors are different.
Sensors are different.
Okay.
Because we can allocate the sensors to ECUs for input sources.
ECU is the control device?
Yes, electronic control device.
What
Control unit.
is what are the components in the ECU?
What, sir?
What is the components of the ECU?
Components of ECU.
Components of ECU. So in these ECUs we are having some like our microcontrollers only. So it can be store the data and then it will be take the decision. So this electronic control unit is going to take the decision. So the decision we are going to write as a programming. Okay, this is like just on store devices like that only. It will be collecting the data, based on the data it will be taking some decision. It will be only going to set as a one receiver. Okay, so our major thing is how these ECUs are communicating. That is called as the IVN communication. So in-vehicle networking communication. So for example, now we are having the 5 ECUs. These ECUs are having that. This is a CAN protocol. So another one is a link protocol, another one is a flex array, another one is a Ethernet. So why we are focusing the CAN protocol? We are not selecting any Ethernet, flex array, link. This is the concept. Okay. Because based on the vehicle, the ECU configuration will be changed. For example, if you can take Maruti Alto 800 means it will be less configuration of ECUs. But now we can compare with the Mahindra XUV in 700 means it is a high configuration. For example, now here the ABS using only 5 sensors means in that Mahindra vehicle they are using the 10 sensors. Okay, so the ECU is nothing but it just collecting the data and taking the decision for the receivers. Okay.
So based on the comfort levels, let's go for higher level. There are more features, right? For every feature, there will be one ECU. For that ECU, one sensor will be there. So sensor is giving the data to ECU, and the ECU is giving the information to all the CAN bus. So it is CAN bus is talking to all the other ECUs.
So canvas is the communication.
Yes. So how we can transmit, how we can share some data like the different kind of languages. So English coming same like that. Here the CAN link okay, but that each port is having some different kind of speed values and different kind of length occurring values.
Same like a group of sensors are connected to ECU, right?
ECUs, yes. For
that they'll collect the data from the sensors, right? That communication is wide or wireless?
wired, sir.
Wide only.
Yes.
All sensors
I
are
can explain the
connected to
difference. For Ethernet means you can take the high number of wires, because here I can explain CAN protocols. I need only 2 wires is enough for this communication. Okay, but you can take the other protocols like LIN, FlexRay, Ethernet means it will be take more than 2 number of wires. So why we are using this CAN means it will be give more advantages to easily identify the errors. For the diagnostic purpose, we can easily diagnose the easy use within using the only 2 wires. We just enough to work with the 2 wires.
High school syllabus also is which one, sir? High school syllabus. Campus is one. High school syllabus also. So we are going for the only campus.
Yes, we are using, but in
We can
automotive,
go for the high school syllabus also.
no, sir, in automotive they are having some specific ISO values like campus, LIN, FlexRay, and then Ethernet only. So in this automotive industry, they are only using that CAN, LIN like that only. Okay, we are not able to use any other buses. We are having some I2J, SPI, and newer these are things are there. But we are focusing because we need to transmit high number of values.
So is there like technical significance of CAN compared to other Ethernet?
Yes, that thing I will explain about that CAN protocol.
So based on the speed of communication that you want. If you want to transmit the data in a fast rate, go with the CAN communication. It is having a 1 Mbps data that is going to do this. If you want to transmit the low speed data, it is LIN, local internet data. So if you want to go with the multimedia area, right? So there we have more host.
Okay. So I just giving the intro, and then now going to CAN protocol, I will just compare with the other protocols so you can easily understood. It is just an intro session only. So you don't take more complicated. Okay. So it is just an intro session. So the working of ECU, right? We will collect the sensors values, camera, radar, and the driver inputs. So driver input means nothing but our brake values, accelerator, our gear transmissions. So these kind of the input values, or else it will be detected by sensors, cameras. These values will be detected and it will be communicated with the ECU. This sensors value we can transmit to the ECUs. So that way of communicating this CAN and flex, right? Based on this ECU decision, based on the sensor values, based on the camera values, it will be like the outputs. The output will be affected as the accelerators, indicators. So this kind of things only ECU will be do. The ECU is nothing but electronic control unit. I am sorry to say this. ECU is an electronic control unit. Initially, just say ECU, so that you are not confused. Okay. So this electronic control unit will collect the data and make the decision, and it will be reflected by the actuators indicated as this decision, and then getting data and then receiving data based on the communication protocol. What's the protocol we are focusing? We will be using the same. Okay. So next
If
one.
the sensor damages, it will give any indication.
Yes, based on the sensor values, we can write the program. For example, ultrasonic sensor it will be detect up to 1000 centimeter. But here we can write the program.
The sensor is not working. For example, the
Sensor is not working means what's the output? So we will get the error detection. So that error detection also I will show in our tools. Okay. Because that is comes under diagnostics. So unified diagnostic services (UDS). So for example, if you are enabling the reverse gear, but at the time you are not getting that camera detection or any people means that is the error. So whenever we can send it to the garage, they will definitely check with the nobody port services. So on that we will directly getting that error detection. If the wiring detection means they are just checking with some meters, or else in between the transmission of data or ECU problem means they are reprogramming and then ECU flashing they will do it. So based on that the errors. So in the UD section we are having some 27 services. I will explain that what are the.
It is not like these complete course is only, we have different levels of autonomous, right?
Yes. So we are having the level 1, level 2, level 3 of autonomous.
So what stage this course will comes under? Like,
so this course we are going to understand about the in-vehicle networking protocol. The one thing is the CAN protocol. Okay. So this is the important and the most trending in our industry. So that we are covering CAN protocol. For if you are understanding the CAN protocol, next you are going to write the decision. So there is a decision based on the programming only. So that programming is called as a capital scripting. So communication access programming language. For the capital scripting, we need a basics of C language. So we are going to cover C language, CAN protocol, capital scripting. So using the CAN protocol, we are going to do some works with that our kit. Okay, that practical knowledge we will get it. Afterwards, we are going to analyze the entire CAN protocol. So this CAN protocol has the signal analysis, message analysis, statistics and logging, replay, graphical analysis, numerical analysis, panel simulations, rest bus simulation, system variables, symbol mapping. So for this individual CAN protocol, we need to give it this kind of analysis. So these are the topics we are going to cover. Once you are all getting the knowledge of CAN protocol, means you can train our engineers, for our upcoming engineers. It will be easy to place it under client requirements. So this is a phase 1 training. So like, after this 15 days, we will discuss with my team, and then they will arrange the phase 2 training also. On that, they will give more practical exposure also. Okay, so based on my team decisions, we will give the kits here, or else you need to travel Bangalore. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so this is the canvas. So before canvas and then without canvas and then with canvas. So before analogizing the canvas, like Robert Bosch only defined the canvas. So why? Because they are creating means you can just see this diagram. Before we need to communicate with these means we need a more wiring systems. So each and every ECU need a wiring system. For this one again, this one for again. So we are using more wirings. But in the CAN protocol, we are just using only 2 wires. So compared to that, it will be reduce the weight of the car. It will be give more mileage. Okay. So if you are using the CAN protocol, it will be reduce the wire. So and then reduce the wire means we will get the reduction of weightage and we will get more mileage of the car. In for example, Mahindra, same like the BE60. So on that they are setting the entire engine part on the tailgate side. The front side boot space is everything is free. Okay, so after competition I will show you one video. Okay, so on that they are everything fully reducing the weight for that, giving more mileage of the car. There is a full of electric vehicle, the entire motor settings and then rear wheel settings, everything they are setting on the tailgate side. So entire boot space is the free space. So they are using the more CAN protocol on that vehicles only. So that is a 2.8 kilometers of wiring, that nearly 2 kilometers getting the CAN protocols only. Okay, so that is the advantage of using CAN.
Like it is not only for communication, it is also for getting mileage also.
Yes, because
as per my knowledge,
mileage means directly it will not give to the engine system. It will be reducing the weight of the car. So what is the reduction of the weight? We will get the more mileage.
hardly bikes are very less weight, no, sir. So like weights, generally the weight of bikes doesn't affect the like mileage of the engine. Like
No, sir. If you are taking this more wires of easy communication, means we are very complicated to diagnose our vehicle systems.
that is okay, but is it affecting directly the mileage?
Yes, sir. Definitely it will be affected. If you are using without CAN protocol, if you are using more wiring system, definitely it will be affect our car mileage system. Once we can check our old model cars or without using CAN protocol cars, we can check it. The mileage will be very low because not only that engine systems, not only for the chassis system, the weight of the car also will be the major part of the mileage.
That is true, sir. The weight of the load affects the mileage.
So that wiring also giving more weight system, sir. So what are the possibilities ways to we can reduce the weight? It will be one advantages of the mileage.
Sir,
We can reduce the weight by the metal or we can reduce the weight by the steel quality and then we can reduce the weight by the wires also. So what are the possibilities way we can use it? That's the thing.
earlier the fuel injector was there is no ECU control the fuel injector.
What is the
Now all the fuel
how much
injectors.
kg of fire is needed? This how much difference for liters of kg or something? Weight. How much difference is that?
That's
It can be
because that's based on ECU counts, sir. Because now we are using that 15 ECUs now. That Mahindra vehicle has nearly 30 ECUs.
Okay.
So in the before that the same XUVs are not coming only 15 ECUs. So based on ECUs, so that
As the number of as we are going for automotive, so it will reduce the load of or weight of the parts. Previously, the ECU concept was not there, I hope, right? So we have previously more mechanical stuff, more mechanical subsystems are there, so that the weight is increased. So that was the
It is the one of the way to reduce that weight.
Complex, actually, it reduces the complexity
That is
first.
okay,
And
complexity.
it increases the number of
So what
features.
are the CAN nodes there? Canvas is CAN nodes.
Yes.
What are the nodes there?
Nodes means ECU.
Nodes means nothing but ECU.
ECU.
So ECU node both are same. So as per our software technical part, we can using the name as a node. So in the hardware letter, we can say it is a ECU. Nothing. Okay.
Like based on, if you have a throttle, right, or accelerator, we call it as a throttle. So how much you are pressing the throttle, based on that, there is a.
As the number of nodes are increasing, it might be increased the number of controllers.
Okay.
Okay, that is electronic related word. How it is related to petrol.
So
And
now
how it is
that's point we
it
are
is
making.
reducing
It will not directly not going to work with the engine system or mileage. So it is the one way to
No,
reduce.
sir, as earlier there was less number of issues, right? Now, as the number of features increases, the number of issues increases. And you are saying that how the issues are related to the mileage, right? So earlier there was a fuel injector there. In the fuel injector, it is mixing the fuel and ratio. Okay. So if you want, for example, you are going in the low speeds at the time, to increase the fuel efficiency, it is mixing low fuel and high air so that burning will be more, so that it will increase your efficiency. And when you are going for a high speed, so that you have to increase the speed, right? So at that time it has to mix with the more fuel and less air. So it is connected with the fuel injector. It is the fuel injector is mainly operating with the actuator. So as I said, right? So a sensor will be there. Sensor is giving data to the ECU. ECU is giving a controller to the actuators. Okay. The fuel injector which is there is more dependent on the fuel mileage. So it is operated with actuator. So based on the actuators, we can increase or decrease the fuel efficiency. So that is a major advantage in this ECUs.
No, that is what I am saying. Like,
అప్పుడు ఈ మైలేజ్ ఎక్కువ వస్తుంది కానీ మనకు తక్కువ రాదు కదా సార్.
Yes, we can improve the mileage, right? With all the electronics, we can improve the mileage.
నేను చెప్తున్నా మీకు క్యాన్ యూజ్ చేస్తుంటే ఇంకా
No.
క్యాన్ అనేది తగ్గిపోతుంది.
can won't directly affect the mileage of the
This
system.
it is not dependent on the mileage. It's different with the mileage.
Yeah, maybe communication will be fast.
Communication is good,
That's
and we can enjoy more number of features.
కానీ ఆయన చెప్పేది
And
ఏంటంటే
features.
వెయిట్ పెరిగిపోతుంది దానివల్ల మైలేజ్ తగ్గుతుంది అని చెప్తున్నాడు కాబట్టి
No, it's not the question of mileage. ఇప్పుడు మైక్రో కార్డ్ ఎంత వెయిట్ ఉందో సార్ చాలా తక్కువ.
That is what అదే.
అదే చెప్తున్నాడు.
వీటి నుంచి మైలేజ్ తగ్గుతుందండి కాన్సెప్ట్.
Can will
Can.
There might be some other reason.
That's what sir.
Sir,
There is a reason.
actually the weight of the system, which means reduce the weight of the system to one point of getting mileage. So what are the ways we can give it in the electronics units? Okay, electronics and steam. They will be using canvas means it will be reduce the weight. So it is the one point to reduce the weight of the car and it will be give them more mileage. Just one point. So it is not directly communicating with the entire mileage system. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. We understand. Later, if you find any videos, related to the older one and new one, then
No. So my point is, how much variation will be available in the mileage? Any application groups are there?
For this to
Do you have any videos of like
clear without
any database?
Okay, I will show you.
Yeah, okay.
So I will show you some videos.
What is the variation?
Okay, for the variation tomorrow I will show you in one of the video. Okay. The next one.
We have a reflection, right? So in order not to get the reflection, there is a 120 ohm resistance connected at the termination of the bus, so that it can avoid all the reflection problems. Yes.
so you much aware of can, right? Already you
I have taught the subject.
Okay, so these are the trends in automotive industry now. Current days, so the data switches, vehicle networking, infotainment, and then electric vehicles, digital cockpits is nothing but our entire front face. The driver infotainment vehicles, and then instrumental passenger infotainment vehicle, and then center infotainment vehicle, CAD, PAD, DAD, so and then connected car technology. So these are all comes in the infotainment system.
like in these kind of we have some job opportunities, right?
Yes, definitely.
So can you please explain what kind of jobs or opportunities are there in
Yeah, definitely. After completion of this FDP, I will mention the keywords. So in this LinkedIn or Naukri or any data, so they will
Can
use
you briefly like so because students also are participating here.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll have some idea what kind of jobs are there.
So
And
for
what is
this,
the skill set required for a particular job in the automotive industry?
yes, so this is considered that a vehicle test engineer. Okay, so the job role is a vehicle test engineer and then verification and validation engineer. They are called as a V&V engineers. Okay, or also test engineers and embedded test engineers. So these four job roles are accessing for these skill sets. So these skill sets you can using like keywords like CAN and then CAPL. So the CAPL is the keyword for this one. And then the next thing is the automotive infotainment. So automotive infotainment and then one more thing. So you can mention as the automotive easy use. So the keywords are automotive easy use, CAN, CAPL, so and then automotive infotainment. So these are the keywords for recruiter sites. So they are just searching these kind of keywords who are engaged with their profiles like LinkedIn profiles or Naukri profiles. You think you can use this. Okay.
Sir, better you add one more slide maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, end of the day I will use the skill set and the keywords also. I will share you can create one common group. I will update what are the documents and then what are the skill sets and what are the keywords, everything I will mention.
Better we have some groups, sir, so that we will not use the same.
Yes, please you can add me. I will share the internet.
Already you also added. So after the session, day end, so we have some like day one, PPT, day one.
Yeah, okay. So what are the topics I got using the documents, everything you will share. Okay.
Do you have any kind of previously like what is that Vijay sir? The cruise bike is there?
No, sir. Now we are not achieving cruise bait. We are completed the industrial.
So cruise bike is completely totally closed.
Yes, sir. Cruise bike is not the education part of
Yes,
this.
sir.
No. Cruise bike is available now. We can access.
No, sir. That company also closed.
Closed, sir.
Yes, sir. That company is not available. Okay, next one. Okay, ADAS features. Okay, so next one, the ADAS features comes under the blind spot detection, traffic sign recognition, and then emergency braking, auto emergency braking. So these kind of the features comes under ADAS. So ADAS means nothing but advanced driver assist system. So this ADAS are only giving you the opportunity of the car as a level 1 autonomous, level 2 autonomous, level 1 ADAS features, level 2 ADAS features, and then fully autonomous vehicle. Okay, so now that Mahindra got up to level 3 of ADAS level feature, which means you don't need to using any acceleration, brake or steering controls for the parking system. Once you can just press that parking, which means key fob button, automatically it will be detect the space and it will be automatically parking it. So for that we are using the camera, sensors, rear collision warning, surround view, 360-degree parking. So these are the features that comes under that one single issue that is called as a ADAS, advanced driver assist. For this we are using then some of the 360-degree camera and then radar system and then camera features and then ultrasonic features. So based on that we have write more features codings in the capital scripting. So in the single issue that is called as a ADAS, advanced driver assist system. Okay. Next one. So it is an important part in our engineering role, like it is called as a V&V, verification and then validation role. So in our LinkedIn you can mention as a V&V engineer or verification and validation also one attractive keywords for the recruiters. Okay. So in the industry they are doing that work like a V&V model only. First they will gather in the requirement and then doing some functional design and then doing some internal design and then module afterwards coding. So whatever design they have built it, everything will be testing, the unit testing, integration, functional testing, and then final user acceptance testing. So these are all goes under the not anything hardware related work. These are everything comes under the software testing too. They will giving in the software in the loop simulation. So and then they will having some test bed, not the entire car they are using. For if you are working with ADAS use means they will give you a test bin center for ADAS use only. If you are working for infotainment means they will give you only a display of the infotainment. You are working only for the infotainment issue. So in that infotainment issue, you just gather the requirement and then do some functional design and then internal design and then system working. Afterwards, everything comes under the coding. So this coding part is covered our ECU capital scripting. So based on the coding, the testing will be conducted. This testing will be passed means the feature will be enabled in our ECUs. So for that, they are writing that some programming also and then flashing program. If that program gets any fault or any error, the UDS will be going to access it. For service number 120, service number 12, service number 11, based on that service, it will be reprogramming our ECUs. That is called the ECU flashing or ECU reprogramming, like that. Okay. So this is the important way of testing our softwares. So that is called the verification and then validation method.
This is given by the ISO 26261 standard, ISO 26262. So they give complete standards.
So not only software, it will be working for all the industries in the hardware related.
What is covering this course? This part.
It's called as functional safety ISO 26262.
So commonly we can say as a verification and validation.
This part is covered in this course.
Yes sir, if we can write the requirement gathering, we can do some functional design using vector candidate lists. We can create some database and then we can using some coding. So we are counting the techniques.
This is also same software testing.
Yes, same thing we are going to cover it.
Sir, is testing process is there?
Yes, testing process is there. We can using our case master tool, we can write some test cases, we will generate report also. Okay. So this is called as the instrumental cluster. So our car dashboard is called as the instrumental cluster. So it is called as the instrumental cluster testing also. So testing means nothing but we are using the gear shift, vehicle speed, engine speed, and then distance time, and then some of the indications. So this instrumental cluster will not transmit any values. So this is one advantages of understanding this easily. This instrumental cluster will not generate any messages or any values or any data, anything. It is just going to warning, just giving some lamp, some beep sound, and then some of the more indications. So left indication, right indication. So different kind of indications we will get it by instrumental cluster. Based on the indications, the driver will be able to give inputs. Okay. So this is the one major parts and the automotive industry strength thing. So this instrumental cluster also now comes in Poland is they are using some cages for this one. Now everything comes in a digital cockpits. So everything gives us a one single display. So the single display covers the driver and then center part and then passenger part also. Okay. So this if you are having knowledge about the testing of instrumental cluster testing, that is also one most required thing in our industries now. For not only now, next 5 years or 10 years it will be drilled.
This OET sir.
What's that?
OET stands DT. Temperature.
No, sir. Over the air. Over air updates. It will be called as over air updates. So that is called as Android updates. For our instrumental cluster, this instrumental cluster also we can update using our Android iOS. That is called as CarPlay. If you are using the iPhones, means you can directly using the CarPlay or as Android Auto.
So it is different for different vehicles?
Yes, based on the vehicles they will provide some software also. You can just update it, the instrumental cluster also will update.
Okay, so we check. So OET.
Temperature monitor.
OET.
Here it's not mentioned, okay. So OAT means over air updates. They can over air updates. So sorry, I think this image cutting some errors. Okay. So not like that OAT. Next one.
I think it's correct. Outside temp is something.
Outside? Yeah.
Outside.
Outside temperature.
Oh, okay. Outside air temperature. Yeah, not we are using that as a cabin temperature. Okay, cabin temperature, that's cabin outside temperature. We can say as that. Technically,
vehicle outside temperature.
Yeah.
Indicate
okay. We can technically say as a cabin temperature and cabin outside temperature.
light and the temperature of the use.
Okay, this is a telltale lamp system, like warning lamps. We can technically say as a telltale instrument lamping. We can say as a telltale. So telltale means nothing but engine malfunction, battery malfunction, ABS malfunction. So these are the warning lamps are called as a telltale lamps. Okay. So then fuel economy indications, and then cruise control indications, and then electronic stability program warnings. So these kind of the warning lamps are called as a telltale lamps. So we are going to design this instrumental cluster also in our training program. So based on that warning level, this everything we are going to set it. So this entire cluster also we are going to design it in our FDP program. Okay.
Only design any part of testing. Any part of testing of this warning lights.
Yes, sir, definitely. We can use any one of any different kind of signals. We can write the test case and then we will generate the report also.
Like like whether the instrument is IC is working properly or not.
Yes, like that. So at the proper time of receiving messages, it will be need to check with different kind of ECUs. For example, we can take a engine.
Speed letters.
So we can take as a engine temperatures. Okay, engine temperature level. We need to check it with the engine ECUs also. As well as the same time, it will be transmitting the instrument cluster also. Based on these values, we can get it in the infotainment values also. It will be getting overheated. We need to indicate to the driver system also. Means it's the same time. The synchronous is same time. We need to get it with the engine ECU and then instrument cluster and then infotainment.
Like in modern vehicles, if the temperature is increased, automatically engine off, right? So the temperature ECU is there. It is talking to the engine ECU. So when the temperature exceeds a certain level, then it's directly giving indication to the engine ECU that stop, engine off, turn off the engine. Automatically engine is going to turn.
In autonomous.
Not also long vehicle, so the temperature increase, it won't start. In that way, it's talking to each other.
So these are all called as the in-vehicle networking testing methods. So here I am mentioning just canvas communication. So what are protocols we are using? We can just using the communication testing. So canvas communication testing for the communication signals and monitoring analysis. Simulation is used. Simulation is nothing but that REST bus simulation. Without using ECU, we can generate some values or signals using software tools. Industry software tools, we can using that generate the values. Without ECU, we can generate it. Assume the values, assumption of the value. That is the simulation is used, and then fault injection testing, bus load testing. So these bus loads are called as statistics. So bus statistics values, and then automated test scripting comes under the CAPL scripting. Time analysis comes under the logging and then replace something, and then diagnostics and then error detections. So UDS Unified Diagnostic Services knowledge request and response under the error detection. So what kind of errors we will be facing on the CAN protocol? Apart from that, electronic devices using this protocol will detect more errors like bit error, stuff error, form error. This kind of errors we will detect it, and then finally the logging and then reporting. So entire testings are we can log it and then we can generate some which is a simulation of simulation of ECUs, that is called the REST bus simulation. So without ECUs we can simulate the ECU functions, simulate ECU values. So that's how we can explain that tool. This is just a very introduction. Next one. So using this training we will get job opportunities from this kind of companies. So we can directly apply through the skill sets in the mention our resumes, and then we can mention it in our LinkedIn or any job related platforms. You can update it. These are all industries ready to hire for this skill set. Okay.
So do you have any idea of each particular individual company's requirement, like what actually KPIT?
I think I have gotten that L&D requirement. Later I will show.
Okay. So that it will be
yes sir. KPIT. Okay.
No, at least not KPIT exactly. So if you have kind of this company requires this kind of skill set.
Show you job JD, job description. Okay.
So that it will be benefit for students.
But they are expecting that experience at least 2 to 3 years. So that's the thing. If your people are directly need to propose our companies, they are expecting at least 2 to 3 years of experience.
So freshers, but these guys are freshers. They don't have any experience.
Yes,
so let us say for example Tech Mahindra, what kind of skill set is required for Tech Mahindra, cracking a Tech Mahindra?
No sir, they are cracking everyone. For example, active ascension, these are having some software related requirements also, hardware related requirements also. Particularly they are releasing the offers for that automotive industries. So that's only I mentioned. I have the L&D requirement. So we need to focus on LinkedIn. I think I'm only focusing on LinkedIn. I will get more updates regarding the job. Okay. So on that, day by day they are posting that the HRs are posting the requirements for particular requirements like infotainment testing only, for instrumental cluster testing only. They are just accessing the knowledge of CAN, CAPL, and then basics of C language. This is enough for their requirement. But they are expecting 2 years of experience. That's the thing. If we are not able to enter this company directly without experience.
Any company is using the PS master or they use the other software.
Okay, vector canoe they are using. The TS master is a ditto of the vector canoe. If you are just working with TS master means the same method we are able to work with the vector canoe. The vector canoe is a licensed tool For example, if your ADAS team means that the team having at least only 2 licenses only. So that the cost of the license is around 1.5 lakh. We are not able to enable the license for all the systems.
No, so here in this course, we will be exploring about the CanDB plus.
Yes.
Then TS master. So is these two softwares
So that TS master is engaging with the entire CanDB plus. So that only we are providing the TS master. If you are working with the TS master means you are able to easily work on the CanDB also. So that is the major thing only. The TS master giving the access to vector CanDB giving the access to TS master. So that we are able to
I
write.
got a feedback from our previous batch athletics student. He's placed in Gosu. I don't know. So if I ask what actually the working is doing on
Which company, sir?
I don't know, sir. Company name.
Through Garita?
Through Varga only.
Indian Nippon Electricals. So they have went for that different job roles. Sir. They are not going for the automotive job. So they went for that coordinator project management. I am only placed that for the
Vamshi.
Vamshi. Yes, Vamshi is placed in the project management roles. That is the different thing. That is not in that automotive. And the Indian Nippon Electricals is not an automotive field. Sir. So that is a electrical related company, not for with the automotive. Okay. Next. Okay, so these are the training topics we are going to cover: vehicle networking, campus, ADAS, infotainment, and the electronic control units. So in the upcoming next 14 classes, we are going to cover 2 classes, 2 days for C programming. After we are directly entering into the technical part, that CAN protocol, and the definitions and the advantages, disadvantages.
Please as students, we are even though we are faculty, so please treat us as students. Okay? So because we are at honestly I'm saying it's my opinion, like we are at small level, right? So if you can teach so that we can teach the next batch effectively.
Yes, sir, definitely.
So do you teach any ADAS? What is the level of ADAS you will teach here?
Okay, definitely. So what are the topics here? I just mentioned ADAS means in that covering of topics at the time of covering I will everything explain it. ADAS, what is mean by ADAS? So what's the use of that? What's the purpose of the automotive? Everything I will explain it.
Not theoretical things can improve from practice and ADAS also.
Practice also. So for the practice we are not having any
Theoretical something can get.
for example, show the next one. So these things we are using for the practical exposure, sir. Next one. So these two types of kits I am using in our companies. Okay, sir. So this is the integrated I test bed for single ECUs. So before it is integrated with the double ECUs. So this kind of the kits we are having means definitely will give the practical exposure also. So this is consist of ultrasonic sensors and some of the analog inputs, digital inputs and then push buttons, buzzers and then
These motors are actuators, sir.
sorry, sir, motors are actuators and then it is node.
Load MC.
That one we are developed now. So along with that, it is acting as a 3 ECUs. There are wireless ECU, which means wireless data communication, and then integrated ECU communication. So if we are having this kit, definitely I will use the practical knowledge of ADAS. So that we have planned for this for phase 2 training. Okay. So in this training, I will cover with that communication, in-vehicle network communication, and the testing. So I am going to cover testing the signals and then testing the
What do you know?
Yes, sir. Using that one, we are going to test the signals. But we need to use that ADAS means the ADAS will come under the camera features, ultrasonic sensor features, radar features. So based on that values, we are going to write some programming and we can getting the data from that this Arduino MCP along with CAN MCP. We can communicate with that our system tool of TS master using single channel. Next one. We are using the single channel devices. After next one. We are going to analyze the data based on the numerical gauge views, trace windows. So these are things, everything we need to analyze it for the data features. For example, here for RTE means it is the long signal, analog signal, delegate signal. We can easily generate the single signal values. It means we press the values of 1 or 0. This kind of thing is analog. For ADAS features means we need more data. So without that data, we are not able to give any examples also. So that thing. So we plan for the second training. So here we are going to testing the communication protocol. We are going to analyze the signals, analyze the CAN messages, analyze the ECUs. We are going to find the errors, how to detect the errors. we are going to generate that report. So write the test cases for some futures based on that values, based on our user experience. So user interface values, we will get the test generate report also. Okay. Next one.
This is the IVA test. IVA test. So is this working with the LiDAR and meta sensor?
No, sir. It is working with only ultrasonic sensor, but we are able to add it.
Okay,
we have the inputs also. So what are the possibilities we are developing this kit? As of now, we are just developing this one.
So we have a LiDAR radar kit. So is it?
But we are able to use it. We have the plugin points also. Our team is just working for that.
Okay.
Up to now, we completed this one.
So this is for next level of training.
Yes, next level of training. Possibly we can add it to for our upcoming engineers also.
Nodes.
అది నోడల్స్
Right. Arduino Mega 256. Where is
There is
the
ESP32.
Arduino Mega?
It is Arduino board.
That is a nodes.
It is Arduino, it is a node. In this picture you are not getting clearly. I will share with the WhatsApp. This image I got it. Next one. Okay. The same thing we can integrate with the dual things. So the single Arduino and then MCP25. The same thing we can get it with the parallel kit. But along with the board MCP also we can.
So is there do you have any features of those in this kit that we have in the three?
So for that we are going to work with a different kind of ECU. Here it's act with the only one ECU, but that kit will act as a 3 ECUs like RTE, PCM, instruction. The 3 ECUs are already integrated, but that's not having that analog features and then switches, LEDs, buzzer features. That is just shows as a ECUs. But if we have additionally we can do the user inputs.
Okay.
For example, if you have turned on the indicator means what's output we can see. The same thing we are using the switch buttons and then we are using LEDs. But that's the thing we are not having. And any outputs we don't have it in our kits. We are having just inputs, we are directly checking the tools.
Like my doubt is if we connect the radar and LiDAR, will this process is able to process this because we are getting a views data, right?
Yes.
So the LiDAR and radar.
Mostly, I think any one of the sensors only able to use it. Not the same 3 things we are not able to use the single microcontroller. As of
RTOS you can use any sensors at the same time, like 3 to 4 sensors at the same time. We are integrating RTOS here, real-time operating system.
Sir,
In this,
can we do this on virtual platform like so instead of connecting taking a physical sensors, so like the data ultimately it will process the data only, right?
Yeah,
So some sample data,
software tools.
some kind of data sets or some sample data can we take and can we like some program and can we see on PS master without any having a
Without hardware, we can.
but up to some extent, not exactly the physical one.
Okay, sir, for without sensors, we can use
Can
the.
you give some data advantage?
Yes, sir, we can use that. That is called as a simulation functions. REST bus simulation. REST bus simulation. We don't need any ECUs. We don't need any sensors. We can directly generate the signal values. Okay, instead of that real-time one, we can using the assumption values. We can generate it. We can testing the signal. That's also possible. Okay. So whenever we can enter to the tool URL, you can easily get it. So as of the theory knowledge, it is not sufficient to understand for you all. Okay. So this intro section we are just going to cover these are the topics. These are the major subsystems in automotive electronics. Just I show it, but like each of the every topics I will just explain from the base level. Okay.
Very good.
So last this is the yes. It is called as a software in the loop simulation of instrumental cluster. It is called as a SIL. It is the one of the attractive keyword for the regulators also. We can mention as a SIL or else we can mention as a software in the loop simulation. So the different another simulation is the hardware in the loop simulation. One more is a model based simulation or else model in the loop simulation. SIL, MIL, HIL. So that the MIL we need assistance of MATLAB. Especially with the MATLAB simulation means we are able to use the model based simulation. Hardware in the loop simulation. Before going to hardware in the loop simulation, they are working with the software in the loop simulation. Here we are going to create one clusters. We can generate signals. We can testing the signals as per the requirements. As per the verification and validation method, we can requirement gather the requirement from that OEMs or manufacturers, you can create it and then you can design from cluster. Not a specific design, you just create the signals and then you can create the test cases and you can check it in the system, softwares. Afterwards, it will get that good result. Means you can directly apply to the hardware and the loop simulation. They are not directly linked to the hardware and the loop. First, it's the initial, there is the software and the loop simulation. So in this training, we are covering the software and the loop simulation. Okay.
Any of the other partners have been working with us still will be?
Still, I think up to now we don't have any. The smart life is just giving training for embedded developing only. Embedded developing only. So not in that SA. Okay.
So what are the other two names you said, sir? MI and HL?
MI and HL, the hardware and the loop simulation and then software and the loop simulation. The hardware and the loop simulation means nothing but model based simulation.
Model based simulation.
Others model and the loop simulation. They can mention as the model based simulation or model and the loop simulation.
So that is
These are the testing phases.
Yes sir, these are testing phases.
using Simulink, right?
Yes, using Simulink. That MATLAB, this kind of features they are using it.
For that don't need hardware.
Yes sir, for that no need hardware.
Only for HL we need hardware.
Actually only we need the hardware. So the model based means nothing but they are creating some cars and then they are using that XY is a axis. So based on the axis values, they will writing the code inside of that MATLAB. Okay, that is what we can do in the software and the solution. They will create a model. So that is the model and the solution, model based simulation.
So for that different programming languages are used.
Yes, because that MATLAB, some of the people are using that Python, some of them using C++. So here our campus meeting we are just engaging with the C program. It is easy to understand and then easy to clear the errors.
Can we use the same campus scripting for MI?
No, it's not possible. So MAN is a different thing.
Different.
Yes.
For HL same.
Yes, HL you can use the campus scripting. So what we did in the SL means it will be getting some easy values. It will be taking some decision, it will be giving the answer to the receiver. The same thing we can do it in the HL also. But for the model based we don't need anything, this kind of campus scripting.
So for students to get entry into these companies, is only SIL is sufficient?
Yes, SIL is sufficient for entering to the industry. So if you need to work with SIL also, definitely at least you need 2 years of experience. They are not required freshers for SIL. So for our Tech we will provide some projects. If we can hire in our company, we can provide some on-house projects. We are going to take the projects also. We will work on the projects and we can appear these are all experience in the SIL. They did some projects, industry-related projects only we are going to approach in our client side also. Okay, so that's the thing.
Will you provide those projects?
Yes sir, definitely. So in this year for the 2025 we are going to take the OEM projects also. That is properties and doing construction. Okay.
Can you give some kind of small projects to the students so that it will be helpful?
During this course.
This course, like the course, what simple projects like that, so they can evaluate and
So projects
simply listening and after some time it can vanish, right?
yes. For that I will give that the SIL projects like these are the I will give some requirements. So based on the requirement you can create the software and the loop simulation. Okay. So that is also we can consider as a projects. So based on my requirements, I will give some requirements. So for the instrument, at the time of this indication will be we need. At the time of vehicle speed, we need the indication this we need. This kind of requirements I will provide, you will do it. Okay. For that I will check with my team and they will provide a certificate. In that certification they did this kind of projects also. Okay.
So it is better to have at least one ECU, one hardware.
Here our controllers only act as the ECUs. That is not a thing. So our controllers act as the ECU. For that, along with the controllers, we are having the MCP245 CAN also, CAN module also. Okay. So that the controller act as the ECU, that the MCP CAN is a communication protocol. It only generates some values. It only generates some messages, CAN signals. Along these controllers, we will get it from that. We are having that peak also.
Most of the companies are recruiting these HL-based
Yes.
engineers, right? But how our students can get recruited without this HL?
They are specialized in software in the loop means also, that is fine. That is not a thing. Because I can show you some of the JDs. If the HCL means definitely they need a 4 years of experience. Okay, so without 4 years of experience, they are not able to give the test bench. The test bench is looking like not like these small kids. It is looking with the on the real-time ECUs along with motors and then real-time tires. Everything they are allocated in the test bench. They are not directly giving to the freshers. The hard on the loop submission is not a small thing. Not like theoretical. We can explain it. We can just do inputs output. Not like that. We need to handle the hard on the loop submission at least 4 years of experience. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Can we have a tea and biscuit there? Can we have first time?
Then conditional statements, switch case statements, iterative types of iterative statements, and then structures, and then functions. So these are the topics I am going to cover in our C programming language. So this is sufficient for writing a CAPL scripting. So this is enough to write a CAPL scripting. Okay. So and then we are having a portal, Karita Acharya portal. So later you all just please post your email IDs. So on that enroll all of you on that courses. You can get the access for that programming. You will get more documents. So there I have provided more documents for the C programming. So this is useful for learning purposes. Okay. So we are done with the Karita Acharya portal. So today after please all of you post your name and then mail ID in our group. So I will enroll all of your people. Okay. So for this C program, we need to follow structure file, main function, variables, initial. So these are the things we need to cover, basic things for that write a C program. So the structure file is nothing but we need to include some header files, that is called as a structures file. For example, here the structure file is called as that cache include open close bracket. So like that. For we are going to use the different kind of header files. For us, we can write that our user functions use the structures also. For example, we can write some of the codes, we can put it in the structure as of the way we can use of them as per our requirements. So whenever we have requirements, we can write our user code also. That is, we can put it in our structure files. So whenever we can write the C programming, definitely we need to use the as a cache include standard input output dot cache, which means STD stands for standard, I is standard for input, and then O is for output dot cache is a getter file. So the cache includes standard input output dot cache is a this getter file. Definitely we need to use the C programming language. So for us we are going to use the compiler, the online GDP compiler. So in your Google you can search like the online GDP compiler. So the next thing is the main. Just explain this theoretically. Afterwards, we can directly use the compilers. Okay. So next thing is the main function. So the first thing is the structure. We need to mention the standard input and then output. Afterwards, we can work with the main function. That is, they mention as the main function. It is called as the main function. So these are the mandatory lines in our C programming. So what are the codings we can write it in between this way, in between this open and close brackets, we can write any statements or any conditions or any functions or any other pointer structures. Everything we can write in between these main functions. So the first time we need to follow the structure file. Second time we can use the main functions. So third one we need to declare variables. Declaration. So variables means nothing but we are going to use the variable to store some of the values. For example, we are going to write any program for additions, means we can say a value is 10, b value is 20, c value is a plus b means. So the values we need to carry it with the variables. For example, a is 10, b is 20, c is equal to a plus b. Like that we have mentioned. So the carrying the values or store the values is called as a variables. So this is the next third point in our C programming language. The third, fourth one is the initialization. Initialization means nothing but we can give the values to variables. So if you can declare the variables means we need to initialize the values. So that only we are able to work it. For that it is having some different kind of functions, prototypes like different kind of data types like integer, float, these kind of things. Okay, but in our C programming, we definitely need to follow these 4 lines: hash input, standard input, output, and then into main function, and then open bracket, close bracket. So these 4 are same line. Okay, this is not a different thing. Into main function is a syntax. Into main function, definitely we need to open and close bracket. In between gaps, we can write anything, and then finally we need to close the bracket. So this is the common thing. So now, can you please all of you open the online GDP compiler in your systems? C programming. So here the top right side you can see the select language. So you can select C language. Okay. So we just erase this command lines. Okay. As well as the same, the hash includes standard input, output, order is the main thing, and then we can write that into main function. In between that, we can write anything. So here we need to print any statement, which means in our output we can see any statements. We can use the keyword as the printf. So in this printf, you can use the values like. So you just type the printf and use the brackets open closes. Inside that you can use the double quotes. So this is the syntax for getting the statement in that output source. For example, so whatever you need to see in our output sources, we can write the printf statements only. So in that definitely you need to use the double quotes. So these are common syntax. If you are not using means you will get the error. Okay. So on the last line you can using the semicolon. So here the C language is the line by line execution programming language. Okay, so every line having that end point. So the semicolon is mentioned as the end of the statement. So whatever you can write it in the program, so that you can mention the semicolon for all the lines. So this semicolon mentioned, it is called as the end of the line or end of the statement. Okay, so for printf using the syntax as open close brackets, and you can just turn it down. You will get the output sources, the hello world, like means whatever we can give it in the double quotes, everything we can get it in our output sources. Okay, so this is the common procedure to getting the output statement. So here not only we are not able to get the output statement, we will get any integer values, any numerical values, any one of the programming whatever you can write, the final result we can print it in the printf statements. Okay. So the first point we have mentioned is the variables. So here we can say that before going to variables, we need to understand about the data types. So we need to set the variable is the integer or float or character. So integer and then floats or characters, some different types of sizes. For example, if you are using integer means you are able to store the values up to 4 bytes. 4 bytes. I think integer up to 4 bytes. Inside.
The starting number or the ending number? So it's a port it.
What's it?
You are saying port it, no?
4 bytes.
Starting number or
4 bytes, not bits.
No, it is like minus 127 to 127. Like it is 2 over 8 means 80. How many?
8 meters.
No, there are different data types, no?
Yes, so integer having some different values, float having different values, character having only 1 byte, and then integers having some 2 or 4 bytes, and then it's having long int, short int, different types of integers is there. integer having 4 bytes. So integer having 4 bytes, float having 32 bytes, long having 8 bytes, double having 64 bytes. Okay. So so integer having 2 or 4 bytes. This integer having different types of integer like signed integer, unsigned integer, which means it can take only negative values or it can take both negative and positive values. So based on that it will be different. So signed we can mention as the both positive and negative values. Unsigned we can mention as the positive values. Okay, it's the same like that float. So what's the difference between integer and float? Means integer which can take only whole numbers. Float values it can take a point values also, decimal values. We can take 10.2, 10.5 or 100.5 anything. Point values we can use in the float. So the double we are no need to use it. If we need we can use it. For example, you can store any one of the mobile number. For example, you are getting the employee ID using the C programming. You can store the mobile number means it will give up to 10 digits if the value is more than 5 compared to normal integer. So on that place they are using double int or long int. So this kind of data type they can declare it. So we can see. So here we are going to.
So what is the difference float and double?
Float and
Double.
So float it can carry only storing only point values, decimal values. So in that long means it's not like that. It will be extended the defined data type. For example, in float we can store up to 4 bytes means we can use long float means it can store up to 8 bytes.
That is double.
So based on the storage values. If we are going to work with the long number of values means we can use the long values. Or else we are just going to work with the 4 bytes of values means you can mention just integer. That's
Mostly what type of data types are used here in this
based on the
we are
requirement.
dealing with sensors data, right?
Based on the requirements, sir, because here our atmospheric sensor we are using only 1000 centimeter, or else some of the people convert centimeter as a meter.
No, this is depends on the type of control what you are using, right?
Types of?
Ultimately, sensors data will be processed by the controllers only.
Not like that, sir. It's the data types can be based on the values only, not different by the controllers.
That is okay, sir. Like double is taking some 8 bytes, float is taking some 4 bytes, whatever the size it is taking.
Yes.
The amount of memory it is occupying.
Yes.
The number what it is occupying.
Yes. For example, here I can for vehicle speed I can use only integer.
Yes.
Because the values is only 0 to 200, maximum is 200. For RPMs I am not able to use with the normal integer. For example, sometimes they are checking overload values of 20,000. But it will come under the normal 4 bytes of values means we can directly access integer. Or else they can put more values means they are checking.
For example, if I get a sensor data, for example, integer value, which is having like 256 bytes, let us say for example, very large amount of data it is. So if that data is not processed by the EC, which is 8-bit control, let us say. If the size what it is giving the input from the sensors is exceeds the memory size of our data bus of the controller, will it process it? It won't process now.
That's something because it is like a one
What type of-
variable only, na, sir. Okay, sir, but we are getting from the sensor only, but that sensor only we need to merge with our controllers. So
Yes.
we know that sensors will give only this value. So this bit, you can mention the 8-bit of controllers or 32-bit of controllers. These controllers will be able to get the data from the sensors. Predefinitely we know about that. So then why we can confuse with the double integer? Okay, sir. That sensor definitely will give this is the maximum range of values. Because if we don't know the range of values, how we can communicate with the controllers and sensors. Okay. We can check integer A. So what are the variables you are going to define it before we can mention that data type. So without data type we are able to do everything because A is equal to 10 we can mention it means it is an error. So we need to define the variable is an integer or float or character or anything we need to define it. Okay. So integer of A is equal to 10. So and then we can write the integer of B is equal to 20. So now we can use the C is equal to A plus B. Okay. So for example here I am not mentioning integer or this C value is a integer or float or anything. So it is a error point. For example, just we can run this program. We can get the error as it is an undeclared variable. So whenever we can work with any variables, definitely we need to do any one of the data type. So for A and B, I am giving that data type variable of the data type, but C I am not mentioned. So that they are recurring integer of C A plus B. Now we can run it. We didn't get any error and then we didn't get any output also. So what are the codings you can write it? We need the final output statement. Definitely you need to give the keyword of the printf. So that printf of double quotes, it is the common syntax. So here I can write that some value is like that I mentioned. Here we can get that some values we are not getting the final output value. So whenever we need to get that output values, we need to mention the format specifier to getting the outputs of the numerical or characters or any string. The output source is called as the format specifier. The format specifiers are nothing but that percentage D, percentage C, percentage S like that. So for examples, so here you can see that format specifiers for the different kind of data types. If you are working with integers, you need to use the percentage D. So whenever using the percentage D, afterwards only you will get the output of the integer value. Whenever using the percentage F, you will get the output of the float values. So percentage C for character values, percentage S for strings, percentage P for pointers. Okay. So commonly we are going to work with integer, float, characters. These are things enough for us. Okay. So in this programming you can mention percentage D. Okay. So here the what's the line expand means. So first you can take the integer value of A, next integer value of B. Finally you can add the two integer values and then store the values to the C. Afterwards you can print the values. Some value is percentage D. So now we need to mention is which value we need to print it, because we are having three different variables here. Three different variables A, B, C is there. But finally we need to print as a C value only. So that C value you need to give as per our printf. We are having only double quotations. So after double quotations you can use the comma and then you can mention what is the variable you need to print it. Okay, so this is the actual line for printing the final values. Okay, so finally you can see the sum value is that it's printing. Okay, so what are the variables you declared where you can do some programming operations like what we can do manually, everything we can save to the programmatically. So that's the thing that matter. We can do mathematical operations, any board mass rule, any arithmetic operation, operators, relational operators, what are the things you can do it in the manually. The same thing we are going to execute in our programming side. But we need to mention these are the things that carrying these values. Okay. So whenever you are using is equal to symbol, so these values are carrying from the right side, everything will be stored on the left side of the variables. Okay, so in the equal side and right side thing, what are the values is there, everything will be stored on the left side of the thing. Okay. So for example, here I am using only integers. Now you are please going to try the float values. So instead of ABC, you can use that integer using the float and you will check with that decimal values. 10.5, 20.5, you can add. Instead of percentage D, you can use percentage F. So afterwards only you are able to understand about the concept of integer and then float. So you just write the same program, don't change that into main function. It is not able to change it. So whenever using the main function, definitely you are need to use the integer. Okay. So don't change that to main function data type. Instead of ABC, you can using the float and then print with the percentage of F. So if you run this means you will get the point values of 30 point up to 6 digits. So if you don't need up to 6 digits, we need only 30.0 or 30.05 means format specifier you can use in the point 2. So before F, if you are using the point 2 means you will get that is the decimal values. So what are your requirements? Based on your requirements, you can just write it because this float the data bit is up to 4 bytes. So it will give up to 4 bytes of range, but we can reduce based on the format specifier. You can using 0.1, 0.2, or just a point of means you will get only 30 points. Okay. Point 2f is going to reduce the values in our final output source. 30 point before using that point 2 we will get the up to 6 decimals. You can see output as this 6 decimals. So as per our requirement we can use mostly only 2 decimals only. Point 2 we can use it. If you are using point 1 means you will get only 1 decimal. Okay. So this is the working of the float data type. So the integer is we are using for the whole numbers, the float is we are using is the decimal values. Okay. Decimal values, so we need up to only 2 decimals means we can use the point 2 and then we will get the values. If we don't need any point values, you can just directly work as a percentage of okay. So now we are going to get the input as a user input. Now we can directly mention as the variable values A is a 10, B is a 20 and then you can work for the C is equal to A plus B. But we need to get the any user values. If we can give any values means we need to get the output. So this is a single line. We no need to give us individual lines. We can use a float as a B, C. We can just separate it by comma. Okay. Okay. So next we can use the scanf keyword. So this scanf keyword is used and then percentage D. Percentage F. So what are the data types you can use it? The same thing you need to cover it in your scanf or printer. If you are working with integer, you just go for a percentage D. So first we can check with the function. It is the A. So we need to get the output for the A. So in this before A, we need to give an ampersand symbol. So this symbol mentions the address of the A. So initially you can declare the variable as the A. So we are going to give the user input values in the address of A. Use for the B also. So for the help of printf and scanf, we are going to get the user input. So enter the value of A. It will be directly accessing the address of A and then directly accessing the address of B. Afterwards, we have write the same code like C is equal to A plus B. So finally, we can print the statement. Some values, so the integers, so we can mention percentage D and then finally we can print the C values. So just run the code. So using this scanf, it is directly asking the user input values. In the output window, we can get the user input values. For example, we can give any values 100. So afterwards, once you enter the values, press the enter means we will go for the next scanf value. Asking the value of B, we can give any values. So afterwards, it is showing the sum of the values. Okay. So this is called the user input values in our programming language. So we can give any values as per our requirement. We can give the user input. So again, you need to run the code means you will get the new lines. Okay. So sum of A, sum of B. Same thing we can accessing for float. For example, we can mention this as a stop. Okay. So we can mention it as a Float data type means we can give it is the percentage F. So same thing for B. So on the printf. So now we can run this code. We are able to do the user input as a decimal values also like 10.355. So afterwards we will get the output of the thing. So what we mentioned the decimal value is the same decimal outputs we will get it. So this is the advantages of using the different kind of data type, integer, float, and then character, string. So these kind of the things we are engaging with our data types. Okay. So
the command from how to take only the single factor is taken.
sorry, I can't get it. One second.
Like when we have to give the runtime input.
Which one?
Only one input at a time.
So here that please check it that scanf I am using the double quotes. So it is the syntax for it.
Can you like printf last some value is 0.4f instead of percentage f? 0.4f. So it will take 4 days also.
Yes, we can give it anything. 0.4.
Please take it.
We can run. So we can give it values. So it will give only 0.4 values.
Decimal it will take 4 days.
So after decimals it will take only 4 points. Okay. So here the syntax of scanf is so scanf double quotes and then comma ampersand symbol. So this is the syntax of scanf. So in this double quotes we need to mention what's the integer values we need to get it. Sorry, what's the data type values we need to get it. For example, it is an integer or float or character. So any values you can get it, and here you can mention the address of variables. So this is the syntax of scanf.
Integer percentage, the percentage 2D, percentage 3D. What is that?
No. Sir, this is the specified integer. Sorry, specified form specification. Okay. So we are not able to work with any like say like the 2D, 3D. It is not able to give it.
No. If you take integer only, all data types integer only. You take percentage D. So as we have taken it is 0.4f. If I take like 2D, 3D,
you are not able to get any point values. Like I will give you example.
instead of float you take integers.
Yes. So in the user input, if you are using that integer means you are not able to get any point values.
So like percentage D here, instead of percentage D, what is the output? It is like
Yes. Here you can say 10.05 like that.
okay. It will take integer only.
Yes. If you directly go to some value is 10, it is not asking about the second variable values because they each point out is starting on ASCII values. Okay.
I'm asking like instead of percentage D, take percentage 2D.
Which one, sir?
Printf last statement.
Last, okay.
2D, if I take 2D.
2D.
There is no effect.
But actually it is not a correct way to write the code, sir.
Can we get only a blue digits? We give percentage to the
Oh, make it check.
Scan
100.
Okay.
doesn't affect it.
So because we give the values in the inside of the double quotes. The inside of the double quotes it's carrying that whatever statement we enter, that's only it will be taken. Okay. So whether that percentage D it is a mentioned as an integer point. So 2 is also that is an integer value. So it will not affect our format specifier. It is like what we entered in the double quotes. Like if we can give it is a sub value that we have mentioned any values whatever it can give that will be print here. Okay. So same like that the 2 also it will not consider here. Okay, so what we have entered in the double quotes, everything will be printed on the output print statement. Okay, so it is not the right way to write the percentage 2D. So it is a constant common specifier here. For integer means we need to access with the percentage here. If you are using the long integer means you can use as the percentage LD. So the L mentioned as the long, D mentioned as the integer. Okay. So can you please all of you try this, the difference between the integer and the float using the user input? Okay.
Can you give an example of the double rate?
Double. For example, here I can run this code. For integer, we can see up to 4 bytes, right? We can give the values. So here you can see the output you will get the garbage numbers. So values will get the -166285452. It is not the sum value of this A and B. It is the garbage values because we are exceeding the 4 bytes of values. If we can give that. So it is the actual 4-byte integer range. If we can take the minus values 2147483682, 2147483647. If you have entered the values in between the range in our code, for example, integer of A means we will get the proper output. If our value is more exceeding that value, so that we are not able to get in the accurate answer, we will get the garbage values. So in this place we can use the double. So it is the double enter. We can use double means L. For double also we can use the keyword of L. Okay. So now we can run this program. So first we take the long. So now we will get the maximum values of this long input. So that double will consider the float values. So for the integers, the whole number values we can take the long values. So when not using the decimal point values, we can take the help of the double. Okay, because the long and the double have the same size of storages, but it will be accessing the different data types, integer and the float. Integer carries only whole value, whole number values. Float carries decimal point values. Okay, so this is the difference between the integer and the long integer.
But unsigned and signed, it is both integer.
Sir?
But if it is data type, its number is a signed number.
Yes, sir.
Like some minus 4 or plus.
Yes, sir. If we can mention the signed number means we can take the range of minus value to plus value. If we are commonly mentioned as integer means we can take both the minus and the positive and negative values. Okay.
Is data type same for both int only, data type for both signed and unsigned?
Yes, sir. Data type is in this common. We can mention the signed means we will using only the positive values. Using the unsigned or commonly mentioned as the int means we can take both positive and the negative values. Okay.
Director sir, Dr. Lakshman Prasad sir, and Dean Academics, Dr. Krishna sir, and head of the department EC, Dr. Sanjay Reddy sir, and all the faculty members of UVRIT, and the lab in charge, Mr. Vijay Reddy, and most importantly, staff from Architect, Pranit and Jagadish, Prasad and Jagadish, Very good afternoon to you all. Actually, we would like to come in the morning, but sir has class in the first 2 hours. That's why we came at 12 o'clock. And sir would like to interact with you people. And thank you very much, sir, for accepting this proposal and giving this opportunity, both from Health Tech and TVRT. And you try to utilize the maximum opportunity and try to get the maximum stuff from the Prashant and Jagdish. So they are very friendly and they will be here 24/7. So the main important thing is they will be available here even 4 o'clock also. So you can stay with them and you can interact with them and you can clarify all your doubts and try to utilize this opportunity. It is 15 to 20 days program is it's a semester course, you can assume, because 8 hours in a day you can take. So 20 into 8, so 160 hours you can utilize fully. And with this, once again I thank you all and I am requesting Director sir to address this team.
Dean Academics and Application Garu, then Head of Department of EEE, Dr. Ride Garu, Head of Department of EC, Dr. Sanjeev, and faculty members here, and most importantly, the resource persons who have come, both Sri Prashant and Sri Jagdish Garu. And here I could say some of our faculty members also along with the final year students. You all know that why we have established this type of facility in our campus is only especially to motivate the core branch students towards core jobs. That's the basic intention of mainly interact or bringing this to you. The chairman's mindset actually, whatever is the emerging area in your field, whether it is electrical, electronics or mechanical or civil. So that we need to take immediately and imbibe into it and see that our students are also abreast with the latest trends that are there in the industry. That's how we contacted Health Excel, and that's our last year, 2 years back, we have established this lab, and through this lab, good number of students are already placed actually, and it's a wonderful record is there already. And now you are trained. So kindly, once you are taking a training means your mindset should be towards achieving something. Towards achieving something, always it cannot be one way. It has to be 2 ways. So already TPD has mentioned that the time is yours. They are here 24/7 for the coming 15 days. How much you can spend, you decide. It is your career at the end of the day. We want that your career should be wonderful. That's the only intention, whether it is student or faculty. The faculty, what are the takeaways from this lab and how best tomorrow I can really mold myself to really tackle with the latest developments. Otherwise, we become obsolete and we will not be there at all, in the race at all. So that's why whether it is student or faculty, every one of us naturally compete with the present trend and move forward. Most importantly, the students. Our objective is mainly students. But faculty, we take advantage of it and the facility is available. But it's an established facility for students' sake. So that's why my sincere request to you all is utilize every minute of the program here. Ask whatever you have in mind, don't hesitate. It's an interactive session. Please don't hesitate. And at the same time, my thinking is please focus on what's in for next. Rather than actually whatever today is that 20-15 minutes, whatever I got, it is related to the programming. So which you learned in first year itself. So brush again today, come back, refresh tomorrow, so that we will be more really competitive in asking the questions. So my sincere request is whatever we have learned, we must be really again refresh it and come. And whatever extra we need to add by the time we leave in the evening, that extra is what that we should add to you. So kindly think like that every day and see that this really helps you in building your career. That's all. The intention of the management is very clear, building the careers of the student in their own domain, right? So that's how this facility is created for EC, Triple E, and of course mechanical is having this time a separate wing like that. They are doing separately, but EC, Triple E we have combined this time. So can we do it for the next 15 days seriously? All keep aside all the personal things actually. Only thing is career is prime for us and what we are going to get in that career, right? All the best to all of you. Thank you, sir, both Jagdish and Prashant. Thank you very much for really hosting this. We definitely take the full advantage of it. Our students will require to lead this, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Spirit आप जी project
పర్వాలేదు విజయన్ కూడా
వస్తుంది